I raced a Gravel World Series event. You can watch the video of how I got on up on GCN now. But since then, almost inevitably, my mind has been whirring about all the things that I learned and might change for next time. And that's in spite of having been racing bikes for over 30 years, 10 of which were as a pro. So every day is a school day, as they say. For context, in gravel racing terms, the race I did was a short one at just 105 kilometers. And the gravel wasn't super chunky. Instead, it was very fast. And the main challenge, apart from the riders, was actually the crosswinds. Now, in spite of it not being chunky gravel, one of the things that struck me most was just how many riders I passed that were stricken at the roadside with mechanical problems, most of which seemed to be punctures. Now, inevitably, when you get thousands of riders all riding around, you're gonna come across loads of problems. But still, it got me thinking about the kind of equipment choices that I had made and how resilience is always top of my priority list, basically. And that includes things like tyres, having slightly wider tyres and with a slightly thicker, more puncture-resistant casing. Now, I'm not saying you need to have armour-plated everything, and if there is a trade-off with the tyres that I was running, it's a very small one. But ultimately, it's an important personal decision, weighing up potential marginal gains for robustness. Personally, running stuff that's super light, fragile, aero, whatever, is not a trade-off I'm willing to make over resilience. This is a bloody uncomfortable tree stump. Hang on a minute. Sacrificial camelback. That's bad. Sticking with tyres for a moment, on a gravel bike, tyre pressure is so important. Now, you can tweak it and tailor it for the specific demands of each individual course, if you so wish, but personally, what I like is to have a favoured pressure for a particular tyre and rim combination. Yes, I am that fun at parties. And then I tend to leave it at that. So I know how the bike is going to react across every different surface. However, what I learned from my trip to the Gravel World Series is that the accuracy of many track pumps is absolutely woeful. So I was running around the pit area trying to borrow track pumps to set my tyre pressure up, and every one I tried was giving me a different pressure, plus or minus 10 psi, which was utterly useless. I couldn't bring my own track pump out because I'd flown out. I didn't have space in my bike box. So what I needed instead, and what shall forevermore be in my kit list, is one of these, okay? So it's a digital tyre pressure gauge. This one is from Topeak. And basically it means that you know exactly how much pressure you've got in your tyres. It sounds really nerdy, and it kind of is, but it shouldn't be, because it is really important. It's also simple to find out what the appropriate tyre pressure is. And it makes a big difference. My tyres ended up being too hard, because I was going for robustness, remember, and actually it ended up probably slowing me down a little bit. And it also gave me reason to stress when I didn't need to. Don't try anything new on race day. It is something that I and every other GCN presenter has said time and again, and actually I stuck to it pretty much to the letter during my racing career, but not at the Gravel World Series. And it's particularly important to not mess with your nutrition strategy. Now, technically I didn't. I practiced my nutrition strategy. We get to use precision fuel and hydration here at GCN, and I absolutely love the stuff, genuinely. It's brilliant, and it worked super well. However, what I did do was use one of their flow gel pouches. Is this not the biggest energy gel you've ever seen in your life? Technically, it's 3 giant energy gels all mushed up into one. 300 grams of carbs. Initially, when I heard about triathletes doing this, I was like, losers. But actually, it's amazing. Except I didn't try it before race day. In fact, the first time I did try it was about 30 kilometers into the race, when my heart rate was at 182 beats a minute, and I could barely take my hands off the handlebars. And so actually what happened was that I I accidentally bit the top off it, leaving me with 300 grams of energy gel in a saggy pouch with no lid, which left me in a very sticky situation, I'm not gonna lie. I told the GTN guys this when I got back, and they absolutely pissed themselves laughing, because this is not new tech to Ironmen. It's probably not new tech to you either, but it was new tech to me, and I shouldn't have used it on race day. But I will use it come World Championships, because I think it's great. I was just an idiot. I said earlier that the race I've done was a short one in gravel terms at 105 kilometers. But I was blooming glad that it was that short in the end, because I kind of raced it like a bit of a wally, which, actually, no, to be fair, that's not quite true. I mean, I had a plan and I stuck to it. It's just that it perhaps wasn't the right plan. So I set off thinking I was going to go really hard and try and get a little group away, and then we could work together. And that is what happened. There were 4 of us. The issue was that the group of 4 that I'd helped to get away then dropped me after 30 kilometers. So it perhaps wasn't that it was a bad plan, it was just that it was a bad plan for my fitness level. What I should have done, in hindsight, was do a race a couple of weeks out. I did do a race the week before, but the demands of it weren't similar enough to this one. I needed like a test event to act as one final training session, and then I could work my strategy out from that. And I say that because I think it's a really important thing, no matter what your goal, whether it's a race or it's a Gran Fondo or it's a super long ride, you need to do something that is almost as hard or almost as long as your ultimate goal, to know that firstly you can do it, secondly you know how fast you can do it, you can practice your nutrition strategy and all that other kind of stuff, and then mentally as well, it gives you that little bit more confidence. So that's something I'm going to change for next time, is find an event maybe 2 or 3 weeks out and then treat it as a practice run. Going back to tyres for a moment, it's a recurring theme here, I know. As I said, I went for the slightly more treaded option in Pirelli's Cinturato lineup. So these are the gravel RCs. As I mentioned, I wanted resilience. I didn't want to stress about having no grip on a muddy day, for example. But in hindsight, I should have gone for the lighter treaded, faster rolling H model that has a little bit less grip. The reason being was not just because of the conditions on the day, but it was actually because when I was thinking about it, one of my strengths as a rider is my ability to ride off-road. I've got a long, long history of it. And so actually I was able to go around corners and down descents faster than other people. And so actually I didn't need the resilience of a more grippy tyre because I have that in my skill set already. I probably would have got more benefit from a faster rolling tyre. And that's a very personal thing to me, but it did get me thinking about this whole idea of playing to your strengths and minimizing your weaknesses, because you can have that therefore in your race strategy, you can have it in your bike setup like this, even something to think about in your training as well. So worth thinking about what the things that you're best at are and how you can maximize that to greatest effect in your race. Lastly, it has to be said that I learnt that the Gravel World Series event that I did in Limburg in the Netherlands was absolutely great. And clearly, the whole process of trying to qualify for the Gravel World Championships means as much to a lot of you out there that raced with me as it did to me. And that whole thing is brilliant. I was a little bit skeptical initially when the Gravel World Series launched, because it felt like perhaps it lacked a little bit of the soul of the more established, particularly US gravel events. But no, when I was there, it was absolutely brilliant. And I love this idea of trying to gain qualification for the World Championships. It's a model that's worked really well for Ironman in the past. I think it's a really cool thing for gravel as well. So I cannot wait for October, personally. It's proper cool. And I can't vouch for every single event because I've not done it, but the one I did was absolutely top notch. So thank you very much for having us Limburg, basically. Right, hopefully this video of things that I have learned from the Gravel World Series has been useful. If it has, make sure you hit that thumbs up button to let us know. Also, please make sure you subscribe to GCN as well if you don't already. We really value your support, and that is a great way of showing it. So yeah, thank you very much. See you on the next one.